Hi, I'm Callum, and this is May Pilates week number 3. So we're starting off today's session by working through a little bit of balance. So we've got a new warm-up exercise to bring in. We're going to go through some roll-up, and then we're going to work into the main session exercises. So the first exercise that we're going to do as part of today's session is going to be a foot slide and lift. I'm just going to show you quickly, and then we'll work through the setup and then into the breathing. So I'm going to go hands on the hips. I'm going to bring one foot just slightly off the floor, keeping this knee bent. So the movement goes out to the side, into the middle, knee up to the chest, and then back down, just keeping that foot hovering away from the floor. So let's get set up, and then we can work through the breathing. So feet together, toes turned out, heels turned out. Both knees softly bent, and this is where we're going to try and keep the angle of that standing knee. So we don't want to be lifting up or down, keeping the knees softly bent. Pushing up tall through the spine, so again, make sure those knees stay bent. Don't push up through the spine and lengthen the legs. Knees stay bent, tall. Shoulder blades back and down. Pelvis is in neutral. Core engaged. So lifting up with the pelvic floor, relaxing off by half and half again. Fingertips pushing into the front of the waist. Brace it into the fingers, feeling that trans ab engage. Relax off by half and by half again. Hands onto the hips. So we're going to bring one foot just slightly away from the floor. For the breathing, we're going to breathe in, take the leg out to the side. Breathe out, bring the leg back into the middle. Breathe in, knee goes up. Breathe out, foot goes down. So that then sets us up nicely for the next rep. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. So if we've got those two positions, we're going to work through another 3 reps now. Nice and controlled on this leg. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. So the breath out is always as the foot returns back to that starting position. Last one to go on this side. Breathe in, out, in, out. Switch to the other side now. So balancing on the other leg, making sure you're maintaining the setup. So the knees softly bent, tall through the spine. Breathe in, take the leg away. Breathe out. Breathe in and out. 4 to go. In, out, in, out. 3 to go. So if you're struggling for balance, try and find a specific spot on the floor you can really focus your eyes on. If you're just looking at the whole room, it becomes a lot harder to maintain that balance. Last one to go on this side. Breathe in, out, in, out. Drop that down. We're going to switch back to the other side again for another 5 reps, and then the final five reps on the other side before we work into some roll up. Bring that foot away from the floor, knee softly bent, tall through the spine. Breathe in, out, in, out. That's 1. 2, 3 to go. Breathe in, breathe out. Keep this knee pushed out wide. Breathe in, breathe out. In, out, in, out. Last one to go. Placing the foot down, switching to the other side. Also, when we're doing this movement, try to keep both sides of the hips level. So we're not leaning or pushing the hips out. We're keeping the hips nice and still. In, out, in, out. 3 to go. Last 2. And last one. And placing the feet down, little shake of the legs, a couple twists of the hips, and then bringing yourself to the back of the mat, ready to work through the roll up. So we're going to set up again, toes out, heels out, knees softly bent, tall out through the spine, shoulder blades back and down. Pelvis is in neutral, core engaged. Deep breath in, filling the lungs, reaching the top of the head nice and tall. And then breathing out, chin tucks in. Shoulders roll. The middle of the spine starts to round in the lower back. I'm bringing the hands down towards toes, keeping the chin tucked in. Take a deep breath in at the bottom, and then breathing out, stacking up, so tilting that pelvis back. Those first joints of the lower back start to stack up on top of each other. The ribs then stack, the shoulder blades, the neck, and the head. Breathe in, lifting up tall through the spine. Breathing out, rounding from top to bottom. Really taking your time, keeping those knees softly bent, making sure the backs of the shoulders stay nice and relaxed. Deep breath in at the bottom, breathing out through the movement. Deep breath in at the top, lifting tall through the spine. This is number 3. We're going to have 2 more to go after this rep. Deep breath in, and breathing out, stacking back up. Tall through the spine, 2 more to go. Keeping that chin into the chest the whole way down, and at the bottom make sure the chin stays in the chest and we're looking at the belly button. Breathing in and stacking back up with the breath out. Last rep to go. Nice deep breath in, tall through the spine. Breathing out as slowly as you can with this next rep. So the spine should feel nice and loose now. We should have full control of every point of the spine. Bringing the hands down to the floor. We're going to place both palms nice and flat on the ground. We're going to walk out to 3/4 length, placing the knees down on the floor. We're going to keep in this position, ready for the first exercise of today's session. So with the May week 2, what we did is we built up with the leg pull prone to this position here where we're in 4-point kneeling. Pelvis is tucked back, we're nice and engaged. So remember the movement that we do on our elbows where we really roll the pelvis back rather than pushing the hips up into the air. So that's the position we start in. We bring the knees up, keeping the pelvis tucked back, and drop down. We're going to start there this week, and then what we're going to build up to is a 3/4 position. So we're walking the hands towards the end of the mat. Hips are now lengthened, toes still tucked underneath, pelvis tucked back. Lift to here, and then drop back down again. So we should, by the time when we lift up, be in a full press up position, keeping the pelvis tucked back, hold, and then dropping down. So we're just bringing the knees up and down, but bring ourselves back to standard 4-point kneeling position. Toes tucked underneath, and we're going to just work through the setup. So make sure hands are underneath the shoulders, palms are nice and flat on the floor, so don't have the heels of the hand lifted or the balls of the hand lifted. It's nice flat palms, chin tucked in, lengthen through the spine, so you're pushing the crown of the head away from the shoulders, shoulder blades back and down. Now imagine you're rolling the pelvis away from the floor like we do in leg pull prone on their elbows. So the pelvis tucks back. Naturally then we start to feel the core engage. Hold that engagement. I want you to just do 2 deep breaths, pushing the ribs wide, and release the breath out. Keep tension in the core there. Breathe in and release. Okay, next breath in, we're going to lift the knees. So breathe in and out. 4 to go. The top half of the body should stay completely still. The knees just lift up. 2 to go. And last one. Relax down. Untuck the toes. Release the shoulders. Hold tension in the shoulders. Deep breath in. Breathe out. Push into the floor. Walk the hands slightly closer to the knees. Chin tucks in. Pelvis tucks back. We're just holding here for a couple deep breaths. And release. This time, if you feel comfortable, that last level, we're going to walk the hands right to the end of the mat. So we're now in this 3/4 position. Bring the shoulders and the hips forwards. So the hands are underneath the shoulders. We shouldn't be in this position here. So we want to be directly over the hands with the shoulders. Again, imagine you're rolling the ribs, belly, hips away from the floor, tilting that pelvis back, tall through the spine, shoulder blades back and down, cores engaged. Deep breath in, lifting up into the push-up position, breathing out, knees go down. Breathe in and out. That's 2. More to go, sorry. Pelvis stays tucked back, knees drop down, last rep to go. Knees down, walking the hands back. Again, pushing into the cat stretch, chin tucks in, pelvis tucks back. 3 deep breaths. And release out the stretch. We're going to walk the hands down, lengthen through both legs, drop the knees, the thighs, hips, belly and ribs. Hands down to the side, ready for the next exercise. So next in today's session, we're working through the swimming exercise, and where we finished off with this last week was in this position with the hands overlapped, forehead on top of the hands, pelvis tucked back. We lifted the leg up as far as we could, and then we just pulsed past that end range for 10 reps. And then we switch sides. So we're going to do exactly the same, starting off with that level this week, but then what we're going to do is progress to the arms outstretched, forehead on the floor, still just focusing on the legs though. We're not going to be moving the arms. The leg's going to lift up. We're going to pulse for 5 to 10 reps, whatever we feel more comfortable with. I'm going to count to 10, but if you get to 5 and that feels enough, that's absolutely fine to stop. So let's bring ourselves into the setup then. Elbows out nice and wide, hands overlapped, forehead resting on top of the hands. Chin tucked in, tall through the spine so the crown pushes away from the shoulders. Shoulder blades roll back and down. Pelvis rolls back. So we're bringing the front of the hips away from the floor and curling the tailbone between the legs. Such an important part of this exercise because we don't want to be using our lower back to lift the leg. Tilting the pelvis back helps to engage the hamstrings and it cuts out the lower back from working. So what we're going to do is take a deep breath in, breathe out and lift the leg up. Hold this position. So we're really trying to stay engaged and not twist. Now we're going to go for 10 pulses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Drop the leg down. We're going to do the same again. Pelvis tucked back. Lift the leg. 10 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Drop the leg down. We're going to do that 3 more times. Pelvis stays tucked back. Lift the leg. Try not to twist. Pulse for 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Drop the leg down. Lift the other side up. Pelvis stays engaged. Core stays engaged. Pulse the leg. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Drop the leg down. Last set to go on each side. Deep breath in. Breathe out. Lift. Off we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Make sure, I forgot to mention as well, that you are lengthening through the leg. So you're pushing the toes away from the body. Pelvis stays tucked back. 10 pulses, off we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax the legs down. Bring both hands back in line with the ribs. So from here, what we're going to do is push the hips all the way back to the heels. Forehead onto the floor, chin tucked in. And just hold here now for 3 deep breaths. Relaxing into the hips so the bum sinks all the way back to the heels, reaching the arms forwards, chin stays tucked in. Deep breaths in, pushing the ribs wide, and then slowly releasing that breath out. Last one to go. And bringing yourself forwards again, all the way down. So the thighs, hips, belly, ribs go down, legs onto the floor, reaching the arms out. And we're going to have palms facing towards each other, forehead on the floor, and working through the same exercise, but just taking a moment to set up first. So chin tucked in, tall through the spine, shoulder blades roll back and down, pelvis is tucked back, cores engaged. Deep breath in, breathe out, lift the legs, so reaching through the arms, reaching through the toes. Now 10 pulses, off we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax down, pelvis tucked back. Really work on holding this position here, so we should feel the core engaged and we shouldn't feel any tension in the lower back. Lift the leg up and pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax the leg down. Same on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switching sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So just remember, before we start the last set on each side, reach fingertips, reach toes, chin stays tucked in, reaching the top of the head, and that also really helps us to stay tucked back with the pelvis. Deep breath in, breathe out, lift, hold, and now 10 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last set to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relaxing down, bringing the hands back in line with the ribs. Push into the floor, hips back to the heels, chin tucked in, head down onto the floor. Reaching the palms and reaching the hands. Relaxing the hips, sinking the bum back to the heels. 3 deep breaths. And last deep breath in. Relaxing heavy with the breath out. Bringing yourself up into a 4-point kneeling position. We're going to roll over onto the side, laying down on the arm, ready for the next exercise. So next we're going to work through today's side kick progression. So as we always do, setting up, lengthening the arm along the floor first, both legs together, toes reaching. That crease between the ear and the cheek, we're going to just place that gently down on the arm. So we now need to make sure fingertips and toes are all within that straight line. So that also helps us to stay nice and balanced. We should make sure hips and, or other way, shoulders and hips are all stacked up on top of each other. And if we reach up towards the ceiling, we should feel perfectly balanced. Those are the checklists that we need to work through to make sure that we are ready to move. So we can't start this exercise until all of that is secure. Hand down onto the floor, fingertips pointing towards the toes. So now working through the rest of the setup. So chin tucked in, pushing the head away from the shoulders, shoulder blades back and down, pelvis is tucked back, core is engaged. So what we're going to do is take a deep breath in, breathe out, reach that top leg and lift. Make sure you stay stacked. Deep breath in, breathe out, reach the bottom leg and lift. If you find a balanced position, what we can do is bring the hand away from the floor, away from the hips, all the way over to this top position where both fingertips are now touching. So we're now really balancing along this straight line. Reaching fingertips, reaching toes, keeping the legs lifted. Holding here for 3 deep breaths. That's 1, 2, and 3. Bringing the hand back down all the way to the hips and then to the floor. Deep breath in, breathe out, release the bottom leg. Deep breath in, breathe out, release the top leg. Bring both knees up. This bottom hand, the elbow bends, the hand cradles the head. The top hand hugs the knees into the chest. We round the spine and hold here for 3 deep breaths. So it's just seeing the importance of why we should take a little bit of time first setting up. If we're not balanced along that line, doing that last exercise we've just done there is going to be almost impossible. So we're trying to look for an effortless lift. If you're not stacked along that line, it's going to be a really difficult way for you to try and move. So make sure you're really prioritizing being completely lined up first. So then bringing yourself into that setup position again, nice and tall with the arm. toes in the same line. So if we look down, we should just see the tips of the toes, the knees and the hips, all in that same line with the arms as well. Make sure we feel balanced. So find that spot. It might help to close your eyes until you feel like you're perfectly balanced over the hip and the shoulders. Reach the hand up to the ceiling and you should feel nice and balanced. Hand onto the floor, chin tucked in, push the head away from the spine, shoulder blades back and down, pelvis tucked back, core engaged. Deep breath in, breathe out, reach and lift the top leg. Same with the bottom now, deep breath in, reach and lift. Bring the hand away from the floor, reaching right the way overhead, fingertips touching, toes touching, reaching at both ends and holding here for 5 breaths this time. It's a nice deep breath in, slow release of that breath out, that's 1. And 2, make sure you maintain the reach. 3. And that's 4, last one to go, deep breath in. And 5, bringing the hand right the way back to the hips, to the floor. Deep breath in, breathe out, release the bottom leg. Deep breath in, breathe out, release the top. Bring both knees up to the chest, bending that bottom arm, cradling the head and hugging the knees into the chest with the top arm. Pelvis tucks back, spine rounds. Deep breathing in this position for 3 deep breaths. Feeling the back relax off, the hips are starting to release as well. And release out the stretch, rolling over onto the back. Ready then for the first of the 2 exercises that we do on the back. So next, moving on to the single leg stretch, and what we introduced last week was the movement of being in a double tabletop position or the 100 position. We extended, dropped down, lifted back up into this tabletop position, and we've done 5 reps on one side, 5 reps on the other. We're going to start with that this week, but the progression of this week is when we've been working through this exercise over the last couple of weeks, we've just done 5 on one side, 5 on the other, and that's fine because it helps to keep one side stable. Now what we're going to look to do is alternate leg movements, but we're going to go back to just extend and return when we work into level 2 today. So it'll be to here and relax, to here and relax. So let's get working into the setup. Feet together, heels to the bum, toes turned out, heels turned out. Chin tucked in, tall through the spine. Shoulder blades back and down, pelvis is tucked back, core engaged. So with the core, squeeze up with the pelvic floor, relax off by half and half again. Fingertips into the front of the waist, pushing deep into the waist. Brace back into the fingers. We're using those core muscles to push the fingers up. Relax off by half and half again. Hands down by the side. Deep breath in. Breathe out, one leg into tabletop. Imprint to squeeze the ribs down. Deep breath in. Breathe out, both legs in tabletop. Knees over the hips, shins parallel, toes pointed. So 5 reps on one side, 5 reps on the other of extends and drops. Deep breath in, breathe out. Breathe in, controlling that drop. Hold for the breath out and breathe in, return. That's 1. Hold for the breath out. Breathe in, return. That's 2. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold for the breath out. Breathe in, return. That's 3, 2 to go. Last one to go. Back into starting position. So we're now switching to the other side. 5 on this side. Deep breath in. Breathe out, lengthen. Breathe in, drop. Hold for the breath in. Breathe out, return. So with this other leg, make sure this stays in the same position. So don't bring that knee closer to the chest, because that will offset the balance. We're trying to keep the knee over the hip. hold for the breath in. Sorry, hold for the breath out, breathe in, return. 3 to go. Last 2. Hold for the breath out. Breathe in, return. Last 1. Keep that pelvis tucked back. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold for the breath out. And breathe in. Breathe out, place 1 foot down. Deep breath in. Breathe out, other leg down. Reaching both legs. Reaching both arms. Full body stretching for the release. Holding here for 3 deep breaths. Squeezing the glutes slightly, feeling that stretch deeper into the hips. And last deep breath in, breathe out, release the hips. Bring the heels back up to the bum, hands back down by the side. So this time, remember, we're going to have both legs in tabletop, but just alternating with the reach. We're not going to do a drop this time. Toes turned out, heels turned out, chin tucked in, shoulder blades back and down, pelvis tucked back, cores engaged. Deep breath in, breathe out, lift into tabletop. Deep breath in, imprint, and breathe out, lift the other leg up. So now just alternating the reaches. Deep breath in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, change leg. Breathe in and out. In, out. That's 2 on each side, 3 to go. Again, making sure those knees stay directly over the hips. Last one to go on each side. Breathe in, bring the leg back. Breathe out, drop it down. Deep breath in. And breathe out, drop the other leg. Reaching both legs. Reaching both arms and full body stretch for the release. Nice deep breaths. Reaching the fingertips, reaching the toes. Squeezing the glutes. Last one to go. And release. Bring both heels back to the bum. Place both hands back down by the side. Ready for the next exercise. So, like the single leg stretch, the scissor movement today is also going to have a similar progression. So we're going to start off with, again, both legs in the tabletop position, going for that long scissor reach, so towards the end of the mat. 5 reps on one side, 5 reps on the other. Once we've done that and gone through the release, we're going to come back to just a standard scissor movement of dropping that leg down, no movement at the knee, bringing back up, but then alternating side. So that alternation of sides just really makes us work on holding that pelvis completely still rather than favouring one side. So let's work through the setup. Feet together, toes turned out, heels turned out, chin tucked in, tall through the spine, shoulder blades back and down, pelvis is in neutral, core is engaged. Deep breath in, breathe out, lift one leg into tabletop. Knee over the hip, so if we reach the top of the knee, we should just be able to touch fingertips to that knee and make sure knee and thigh are parallel to the floor. Deep breath in, imprint, and breathe out. Lift the other leg up. Again, we should be nice and level, so if you need to look, shins parallel, knees over the hips, toes both reaching. So 5 reps on one side, 5 reps on the other, going through a long scissor reach. Deep breath in, breathe out, reach into the end of the mat. Breathe in, return, that's 1. Breathe in, return, 2. 3. Pelvis stays tucked back. 4. Shoulder blades stay back and down, chin stays tucked in. And 5. Switching sides. 1. 2. 3. Try to tap the toe and then lift back up. 4. Last one. And back. That's 5. Deep breath in. Breathe out, drop the foot. Last one, deep breath in. Breathe out, drop the foot, reach both legs, reaching both arms, full body stretching. So fingertips reach and toes are reaching. As if we're being pulled from one end of the room to the other. Squeezing the glutes, we're pushing the hips towards the ceiling. And holding for 3 deep breaths. And last one. Resetting with the hands back to the side, heels back to the bum, feet together, toes turned out, heels turned out, chin tucked in, tall for the spine, shoulder blades back and down, pelvis tucked back, core engaged. Deep breath in and breathe out, lift into the tabletop with one leg. Imprints, we're squeezing those ribs down, reaching the ribs or pushing the ribs to the top of the hips. Hold and imprint in, we can deep breath in and breathe out, lift up both knees over the hips, shins parallel, toes reaching, alternating with the movement. So deep breath in, breathe out, tapping the toe onto the floor, breathe in, lifting back up. That's one. And that's one on the other side. Two on each side. Not moving that knee, keeping the knee completely still, all of the movement from the hip. And that's now 3 on each side, 2 to go. Not resting weight onto this leg, just tapping the toe and lifting back up. Last rep to go. Deep breath in, breathe out, drop the foot. Deep breath in, breathe out, drop the other foot. Reach both legs, reach both arms, and hold full body stretch. Filling the lungs, pushing the ribs wide. And last deep breath in. Breathing out, release. And from here, we're going to roll over onto the other side, ready for the last exercise of today's main session. So finishing off the session, we're working through the side kick on the other side. So as always, stretching the arm along the floor, both legs, toes reaching, fingertips reaching, all along that same line of balance. Crease between the ear and the cheek, placing that down onto the arm, closing the eyes and just finding that position that feels stacked. And you can make those adjustments with the fingertips and toes if needed. Once you feel that you've found that balance spot, you should be able to easily, without wobbling, bring the hand, reach that all the way up to the ceiling, and this shouldn't feel like we're going to fall over on either side. If you feel like you're falling back, the legs might be too far forwards. If you feel like you're falling forwards, legs are probably too far back. Find that line of alignment. Hands onto the floor in front of the hip, tall through the spine, shoulder blades back and down, pelvis is tucked back, core engaged. Deep breath in, breathe out, reach that top leg and lift. Same with the bottom leg, deep breath in, breathe out, reach and lift, hold. So we're now lengthening along this line. Bring the hand away from the floor, reach all the way overhead so both fingertips are reaching this way and the legs are reaching that way. Hold for 3 deep breaths. And bringing the hand back towards the hip, onto the floor. Deep breath in, breathe out, release the bottom leg. Deep breath in, breathe out, release the top. Bending that elbow, cradling the head, bringing both knees up, holding both knees into the chest, round the spine, and hold for 3 deep breaths. And last one to go. And release. Lengthen along that line again, so reaching the fingertips, reaching the toes, just stacking up, resting the head on that position. Palm also facing up to the ceiling, and that also helps with the balance. Palms turned over, naturally the weight is going to go forwards. Palm up to the ceiling just sets the shoulder nice and flat, and we're likely to find that balance a lot easier. Again, just make sure you're finding the balance. Remember, if you feel like you're falling back, Bring the legs back a little bit. If you feel like you're falling forwards, bring the leg forwards. Bring the legs forwards. Reach up to the ceiling. See where that balance feels. Feel nice and steady. You can then place a hand down onto the floor. Deep breath in, breathe out, reach that top leg and lift. Make sure the core stays engaged. Reach in the arm as well. Deep breath in, breathe out, reach and lift. So really lengthen through your spine, fingertips and the toes. Hand lifts away from the floor, reaches all the way up overhead, so both fingertips are touching. And we're holding here for 5 deep breaths. Breathe in and slowly breathe out. Keep the legs lifted. And remember those adjustments. If you feel like you're falling forwards, the legs are probably too far back. That's deep breath number 3. That's 4. Last one. And 5. Returning the arm back to the hip, onto the floor. Deep breath in. Breathe out, release the bottom leg. Deep breath in. Breathe out, release the top leg. Bringing both knees up for the chest. Bottom hand cradles the head. Hand holding here for 3 deep breaths. Feeling the spine relax off. The hips are releasing too. Last deep breath in. Slowly release that breath out. And from here we're going to roll over onto the front. Ready then to finish off with a couple of stretches in today's session. So as always, we've just got 2 stretches to bring the session to an end. So what we're going to do is go down onto the front, elbows tucked in, chest onto the floor, forehead down. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. We're bringing the chest up. Slide the elbows slightly forwards. Elbows just positioned underneath the shoulders. And we're just going to hold here. Nice and tall for the spine. Legs and hips relaxed. So we're bringing the chest forwards as well. Lengthen through the chest. Lengthen through the head. So we shouldn't feel too much tension in the lower back. We're just pushing up and reaching the head back and shoulders back. We're going to really feel that pressure into the chest. Whereas if we push the spine away, push the chest away, we're lengthening through the spine and we reduce that compression into the spine. Hold in for 5 more really deep breaths. That's 1, 2, 3 to go. And 3, 2 more. And last one, and we're going to hold the position still. And if we feel comfortable, what we're going to do, continue reaching the head, continue reaching the chest, but just look to straighten the arms, and we bring the belly away from the floor. But do not reach back. We're reaching forward with the spine and the chest, and lengthening the arms if that feels too uncomfortable. Just drop back down onto the elbows. Lengthen through the chest, lengthen through the spine, and again 5 deep breaths. 1. If you're feeling that tension in the spine, remember to lengthen. That's 2. 3. 4. Last one. And 5. Dropping down onto the elbows, dropping down onto the chest, bringing the hands back, toes tucked underneath. We're going to push up away from the floor into a 4-point kneeling position. From here, push the hips up into the air, and what we're going to do is try and straighten both legs. Push the hands into the floor, so we're reaching the head between the arms. Bend both knees, bring both bum and hips right the way up and towards the air. And then from here, if we can, look to straighten the knees. If that's too uncomfortable, what you can do is just alternate one at a time. So we're trying to lock out the back, squeeze the shoulder blades back, head looking towards belly, bum up into the air, straighten both knees if possible, but if not, just one at a time. Again, just holding here for a few deep breaths, so we're going to go for 10 in total. 1,
That's 2. If it becomes too intense, you can just start to alternate with the knees. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 to go. 8, 9, last one, and 10. Dropping down onto the knees, swinging round into a seated position. And that brings you to the end of today's exercises. So well done on completing May week number 3. We've got one more set of progressions next week, and then we'll be bringing these set of exercises to a close. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.